The President of the United States just asked every major ally for help in the Iran war, and every single one of them said no. If you think this is just another foreign policy disagreement, you need to hear what happened in the last 72 hours, because American global power just took a hit that might change everything for decades. Australia said no, Japan said no, South Korea said no, the entire European Union voted, and 27 countries all said no. Even the United Kingdom, America's closest ally for over a century, basically said no. President Trump wanted an international coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and protect oil tankers from Iranian attacks. He called world leaders. He made public statements. He warned that NATO faces a very bad future if countries do not help. And the response was silence. Not a single warship, not a single commitment, complete isolation. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this is history happening in real time. And most people have no idea. This is not normal. This has never happened before in modern American history. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why every ally refused, what it means for American power in the world, why Trump is so angry about it, and how this could be the beginning of a massive shift in global politics that affects your life for years to come. Let me start with what Trump actually asked for, because the request itself was reasonable. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, only 21 miles wide. Every single day, about 20% of the world's oil flows through it. Iran effectively shut it down when the war started. Comment below if you think the request was reasonable, or if you understand why countries said no. They launched missiles at tankers. They deployed mines. They made it too dangerous for commercial ships to pass through. Oil prices exploded. Gas prices in America jumped 80 cents in 3 weeks. The global economy is getting hammered. So Trump's solution was to build a coalition of warships from multiple countries to escort tankers through the strait by force. Safety in numbers. Share the burden. Show international unity against Iranian aggression. Makes sense strategically. On March 15th, Trump held a press conference. He said the United States is working with other countries on a plan to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Share this video with anyone who thinks America still leads the world like we used to. He specifically named China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom. He said hopefully these countries will send warships to help. He said the U.S. has reached out and gotten some positive response, but a few countries would rather not get involved. That same day, he warned that NATO faces a very bad future if U.S. allies fail to assist. The message was clear. America protected you for 75 years. Now we need help. Step up or the alliance is over. The next day, March 16th, Trump told reporters that numerous countries have told him they are on the way to send ships, but he would not name which countries. Type abandoned. If you think America's allies just abandoned us. He just said numerous countries. Then he specifically called out the United Kingdom. He said some allies, including Britain, were unenthusiastic about helping, despite receiving security support from the United States for decades. Unenthusiastic. That is diplomatic language for they told us to get lost. And that is America's closest ally, the special relationship, the country that fought with us in every major war for 100 years. Unenthusiastic. Now let me tell you what actually happened when those calls were made, because the public statements came fast. Australia was first. On March 16th, the Australian Defence Minister held a press conference. If you are shocked by this, smash that like button right now. He said Australia has no plans to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz. No plans. That is government speak for absolutely not happening. Australia is a treaty ally. We have fought together in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq. The ANZUS Treaty commits both countries to mutual defense, but when America asked for help in the Strait of Hormuz, Australia said no. Japan responded the same day. The Japanese government released a statement. They are not planning to deploy naval vessels to the region at this time. Japan imports 90% of its oil. Comment below if you think Japan made the right call or if they are being selfish. Almost all of it comes from the Middle East through the Strait of Hormuz. Japan is the country most hurt by the strait being closed. Their economy depends on that oil, but they still said no to sending ships. Think about that. Japan needs the strait open more than almost any country on Earth, but they will not help the United States reopen it by force. South Korea released an identical statement. No plans for military involvement. South Korea also imports massive amounts of oil through the strait. They also have a mutual defense treaty with the United States. Subscribe if you are realizing the world is changing faster than anyone thought. We have 30,000 American troops stationed in South Korea right now protecting them from North Korea. But when we asked for help, they said no. The pattern is becoming clear. Treaty allies, countries that depend on American protection, countries whose economies are being destroyed by high oil prices, all of them saying no. Then the European Union got involved. On March 16th, EU foreign ministers held an emergency meeting in Brussels. The topic was Trump's request for ships. 27 countries voted. The decision was unanimous. The EU will not expand naval operations in the region. Share this if you think Europe just proved they are not real allies. Not one country out of 27 voted to help. Not France, not Germany, not Italy, not Spain, not Poland, not anyone. The EU already has a small naval mission called Operation Atalanta that fights pirates off Somalia. Trump wanted them to expand it and send ships to the Strait of Hormuz. The EU said no. 27 countries, 0 votes to help America. Now let me talk about the United Kingdom because this one stings the most. The special relationship between America and Britain goes back centuries. We fought together in 2 world wars. Hit that notification bell because the special relationship just died and you need to know about it. We are both nuclear powers. We share intelligence. Our militaries train together. Britain has always been the one country America could count on, always, until now. The UK Foreign Office released a statement on March 16th. It said Britain is working with allies to reopen the strait, but it provided 0 details. No commitment to send ships, no timeline, no specifics, just working with allies. That is the most meaningless diplomatic statement possible. It means we are doing nothing, but we do not want to say that publicly. Then Trump called them out. Type betrayed if you think Britain just betrayed America. At a press conference on March 16th, he said the United Kingdom was unenthusiastic about helping. He said America has spent endless billions protecting NATO, and he always suspected there would be no reciprocation if needed. He said, I think it is terrible. That is the President of the United States publicly shaming America's closest ally for not helping. That never happens. The fact that Trump felt the need to do it tells you how angry he is. And the fact that Britain still did not change their position tells you how serious they are about staying out. Comment below if you would risk your military in the Strait of Hormuz. So why is everyone saying no? Let me explain the calculation these countries are making because once you understand it, everything makes sense. First reason is danger. The Strait of Hormuz is only 21 miles wide. Iran controls the entire northern coast. They have anti-ship missiles all along the shore. They have fast attack boats. They have submarines. They have drones. They have mines everywhere. Sending a warship into that narrow channel is asking for it to get hit. These are expensive ships. A modern destroyer costs $2 billion. Share this with anyone who thinks oil companies should pay for their own protection. A single Iranian missile could sink it. And if a ship goes down, hundreds of sailors die. No country wants to lose a $2 billion ship and hundreds of lives just to protect oil tankers owned by private companies. Second reason is whose oil is it? The oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz does not belong to governments. It belongs to corporations. ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, Saudi Aramco. Private companies making billions of dollars in profit. Why should taxpayers in Australia or Japan or France pay for warships to protect corporate profits? Hit that like button if you think America created this problem and should solve it alone. If oil companies want their tankers protected, they can hire private security. They can pay for it themselves. Using national militaries to protect private commercial shipping is a tough sell politically, especially when the risk is this high. Third reason is this is not their war. The United States and Israel started this war. They launched the attacks on Iran on February 28th. They did not consult allies. They did not ask permission. They just did it. Iran retaliated by closing the strait. From the perspective of other countries, this is a problem that America created. Type karma if you think Trump is reaping what he sowed. Why should they send their soldiers into danger to fix America's mess? Japan gets 90% of its oil from the Middle East. Yes, they are hurt by the strait being closed, but they did not ask the U.S. to bomb Iran, so now they are supposed to risk their ships to clean up a situation they never wanted. Fourth reason is nobody trusts Trump anymore. Trump has spent years attacking allies. He threatened to pull out of NATO unless European countries spent more on defense. He started trade wars with Canada, Mexico, Europe, Japan, China. Subscribe if you think China is quietly enjoying watching America struggle. He pulled out of international agreements. The Paris Climate Accord, the Iran nuclear deal, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He has made it very clear that Trump puts America first and everyone else second. So now, when he asks for help, countries are thinking, why should we help you when you have spent years undermining us? Trust goes both ways. Trump destroyed trust, and now he needs allies, and they are not there. Fifth reason is China. A lot of Asian countries are worried about making China angry. China gets 40% of its oil from the Middle East. Comment below if you think American global leadership is in decline. China wants the Strait of Hormuz open, but China is not sending warships to help the U.S. They are staying neutral. If Japan or South Korea or Australia sends ships to help America and it escalates the war, China will not be happy. And these countries all have massive trade relationships with China. They export hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods to China every year. They do not want to pick sides between the U.S. and China. So the safer move is to stay out of it and let America handle its own war. Share this if you think alliances matter and Trump is destroying them. Now, let me tell you what this means for American power, because this is the big picture. For 75 years since World War II, the United States has been the leader of the free world. We built a network of alliances, NATO in Europe, treaties with Japan, South Korea, Australia in Asia, partnerships in the Middle East. The whole system was based on a deal. America provides security, and in return, allies support American interests. If there is a crisis, we all work together. That system is breaking down right now. When America calls and allies say no, the system is not working anymore. Hit that notification bell, because the world order is shifting and you need to understand it. This is not the first time allies have refused to help recently. In 2021, Trump pulled out of Afghanistan. He did not really consult NATO allies, even though they had troops there too. They were furious. In 2023, Trump started a trade war with Europe over tariffs. European leaders publicly criticized him. Now in 2026, Trump starts a war with Iran without consulting allies and expects them to bail him out when it goes sideways. And they are saying no. Each time this happens, the alliance gets weaker. Trust erodes. Type isolated if you think America is more alone now than any time since World War II. Countries start to question whether the partnership is worth it. From the perspective of countries like Japan or Germany, the calculation is changing. For decades, they relied on American military protection. In exchange, they supported American foreign policy, even when they disagreed. But if America is going to start wars without consulting them and then demand they help and offer nothing in return, why stay in the alliance? Maybe it is time to build up their own militaries. Maybe it is time to be less dependent on the U.S. Maybe it is time to hedge and build better relationships with China. Comment below if you think the U.S. military is overextended around the world. These conversations are happening in capitals around the world right now. Let me talk about what this means for the oil crisis specifically, because Trump needs help and he is not getting it. The U.S. Navy can technically escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz alone. We have enough ships in the region, aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines. We could do it by force, but it would be expensive and risky. U.S. ships would get hit by Iranian missiles, American sailors would die, and it would look like America acting unilaterally again, which would further damage alliances. Subscribe if you want to know what Trump does next in this crisis. Trump wanted an international coalition so the burden would be shared and so it would look like the world is united against Iran. But without allies joining, it is just America versus Iran. And that is a much harder sell domestically. There is also a practical problem. The U.S. Navy is stretched thin. We have global commitments. Ships in the Pacific watching China, ships in the Mediterranean, ships protecting trade routes everywhere. If we pull more ships to the Persian Gulf to escort tankers, we leave gaps elsewhere. And adversaries might take advantage. Hit that like button if you think Trump should take the gamble or if he should find another way. China might increase pressure on Taiwan. Russia might do something in Ukraine. This is why Trump wanted allies to help, share the load, cover more area, but allies said no. So now Trump has to make hard choices about where to deploy limited resources. Now let me tell you what Trump's options are, because he is stuck. Option one is keep begging allies to help and hope someone changes their mind. This seems unlikely. If they were going to say yes, they would have said yes already. The fact that they are all saying no publicly means they have made their decision. Share this if you think pride is keeping this war going when it should have ended already. Trump could offer incentives, more trade deals, more military aid, more diplomatic support, but that costs money and political capital, and there is no guarantee it works. Plus, it looks desperate. Option two is go it alone. Send the U.S. Navy into the Strait of Hormuz without allies and start escorting tankers by force. This is dangerous. Ships will get hit. The question is, how many and how bad? If Iran sinks a U.S. destroyer and hundreds of sailors die, the political fallout would be massive. Trump would be under huge pressure to escalate even further. Type waiting if you think option 4 is what will probably happen. Maybe even invade Iran with ground troops, which nobody wants. But if the U.S. successfully escorts tankers and reopens the strait, Trump can claim victory. It is a huge gamble. Option 3 is negotiate with Iran. This is what should have happened from the beginning, but pride is getting in the way. Iran has said publicly through their foreign minister that they are willing to talk to countries about safe passage through the strait. The U.S. could open back-channel negotiations, offer a ceasefire in exchange for reopening the strait. Both sides could claim some kind of victory and move on. Comment below if you think American power is in permanent decline or if this is just temporary. But Trump has said repeatedly he will not negotiate until Iran is defeated. And Iran says they will not negotiate while being bombed. So someone has to blink first, and neither side wants to be the one who blinks. Option 4 is just wait it out and accept high oil prices. The U.S. has released oil from strategic reserves. Other countries have too. Gas prices are high but not catastrophic yet. Trump could just accept the economic pain for a few months, keep bombing Iran, and hope they eventually give up. This avoids the risk of sending ships into the strait and avoids the political cost of negotiating. Subscribe if you think understanding this power shift is critical for understanding the future. But it also means the economic damage continues. High gas prices, high inflation, angry voters, and if Iran does not give up, this could last a year or more. At some point, voters will punish Trump for high gas prices and a never-ending war. Let me tell you what this says about the world in 2026, because we are in a transition period. The post-World War II order, where America led a network of alliances, is breaking down. Not completely, not overnight, but slowly. Allies are less willing to automatically support the U.S. Hit that notification bell because the world order that defined your parents' generation is ending. They are more willing to say no when American interests conflict with their own. This is partly Trump's fault for attacking allies constantly, but it is also structural. America is relatively less powerful than we were in 1950 or even 2000. China has risen. Europe is more independent. Countries have options now. They do not need to just follow the U.S. anymore. This does not mean America is weak. We are still the most powerful military in the world by far. We have the biggest economy. We have global reach that no other country can match. Share this video if you think this crisis could spiral out of control fast. But power is relative, and relative to where we were 20 or 30 years ago, we are weaker. And this Iran crisis is exposing that reality. The fact that Trump cannot get a single ally to send ships to the Strait of Hormuz is embarrassing. It shows that when push comes to shove, America is more isolated than we like to admit, and that has consequences. Allies around the world are taking notes right now. They are seeing that America starts wars without consulting them, and then expects help when things go wrong. Type trust if you think trust is the foundation of alliances and Trump destroyed it. They are seeing that American promises of protection might not be worth what they used to be. They are seeing that they need to be more self-sufficient. Japan is already talking about doubling defense spending. Germany is rearming. South Korea is building up its military. These countries are hedging. They are staying in alliances with the U.S., but also preparing to stand on their own. And that is a fundamentally different world than the one we have lived in for 75 years. Here's what happens next, and you need to prepare for it. If this video showed you something the mainstream media is not covering, smash that like button and share this everywhere. If Trump cannot get allies to help, he has to make a choice. Escalate alone and risk American lives, or negotiate with Iran and accept something less than total victory, or just wait and let the economic pain continue while hoping Iran gives up eventually. My guess is he tries to escalate alone first. He will send U.S. Navy ships to escort a few tankers. He will see what Iran does. If Iran backs down and lets tankers through, Trump claims victory and the crisis slowly winds down. If Iran attacks U.S. ships, then Trump has to decide whether to retaliate massively or pull back. Either way, it is messy and dangerous. The longer-term consequences that allies around the world just learned a lesson. They learned that America will ask for help but not offer much in return. They learned that American leadership is not what it used to be. They learned that they cannot always count on the U.S., and that changes calculations going forward. The next time there is a crisis, allies will think twice before supporting America. The alliance network that we built over 75 years is fraying, and once trust is broken, it is very hard to rebuild. Let me give you the bottom line, because this is not just about one request for warships. This is about the future of American power in the world. Trump asked for help. Every ally said no. Australia, Japan, South Korea, the EU, even the UK. Zero commitments, complete isolation. This is unprecedented. It shows that the alliance system is not working like it used to. It shows that American global leadership is declining. It shows that other countries are willing to say no to the United States in ways they never were before. And all of this could have been avoided if Trump had built relationships instead of attacking allies for years.